What's up guys, Matt from the Football Boots team, and today I'm going to be testing football boot hacks that actual professional footballers have used themselves, including the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, Zlatan Ibrahimovic and Philippe Coutinho. But do they actually work? Let's find out. Let's start with a boot hack that literally blew up the internet. Philippe Coutinho cutting out a square hole in the back of his Nike Mercurial Vapor 11s. But why did he do this, and does it actually work? Philippe Coutinho has never come out and said exactly why he cut out the back of his Nike Mercurial Vapor 11. But what we think, and what you guys thought as well, is that he must have had a pretty bad blister on the back of his heel, which was aggravating him so much that he actually got his kit man to cut out the back of his boot to relieve the pain. So I'm going to lace these up and see if I can tell a difference. Alright, so I've just laced up the green Vapor with the heel cut out the back. And these two main things that I can actually feel. Firstly, they feel a lot looser than a standard Vapor 11 would. There's definitely a little bit more softness and rollover in the heel area. But also, which might be a bit counterproductive, is that I can actually feel some sharp edges from the cut out piece. Just doing a little bit of dribbling work through these cones and I can already tell you get a massive level of support lost from cutting out the back of your boot. So for Coutinho to do it in the Premier League where performance is everything, I'm very surprised. These cut Vapors feel very strange on feet, but overall, is this a good boot hack or a bad boot hack? Now I'm gonna say a bad boot hack for two main reasons. Firstly, although the pain might be relieved right in the middle of the hole you've cut out, because the outside now is so much sharper where you've cut it out, this could actually cause some more blisters for you if you wear these. Now the second problem is that you definitely lose some lockdown and responsiveness because you've cut out a piece of the heel. So there's definitely a level of support and stability that you don't get from a standard pair of uncut boots. So what would I rate Coutinho's hole in the heel out of 10? Well, in my opinion, this isn't the best football boot hack, so I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. Two main reasons. Firstly, although it might relieve a little bit of pressure right in the middle of the hole, anything around the outside, because of the sharp edges, could create some more blisters. And secondly, there's definitely a level of lockdown lost from cutting out any part of the heel. But what about you guys? Would you wear the Coutinho hole in the heel? Vote in a poll card now. On to our next one, and we've got the Adidas X, which both Man United players Jesse Lingard and also Ashley Young have been seen cutting right down the middle of the Tech Fit collar. So that's what we're going to be doing, testing and explaining why they may have done this. So our first step is going to be taking out the laces and cutting down that collar. And this is what it ends up looking like. Adidas X 17.1 with the Tech Fit collar, but cut right down the middle. But why did Jesse Lingard and also Ashley Young actually do this? Well, the main reason is probably because across that top of the foot, the boots were just feeling a little bit too tight, so they had to relieve the stress, and by doing this, cutting the collar, you're actually helping that ever so slightly. The way the two Man United players actually wore their new cut X boots was actually by putting them on now with their cut Tech Fit collar, and then instead of lacing them up back to the top, instead, just to make sure there was no stress on that top of the foot, they'd instead wrap around the bottom of the boot. Now the problem is you're still going to have a lot of lace to play with, so either you can have them laced up, which means you're going to have massive loops, or you can either cut the laces down to a normal size. But how are they actually fitting now that I've cut the Tech Fit collar? Well, for me personally, they are just way too loose. I don't even know how they stayed on the feet of Lingard and Ashley Young. It just feels like my foot is going to slip out the back just because the Tech Fit collar is lost. So there's no level of lockdown and responsiveness. A little bit similar to Philippe Coutinho's hole in the heel, but for different reasons. Guys, this just feels so dumb. You can see just how much of the top of my foot is exposed from the boot. The only way that this could have fit the Man United players tightly is if they were sized maybe 2 sizes too small. So this boot is fully laced up, as you guys can see, but just look at how easy they are to slide off. That should not be the case for any football boot laced up. In terms of performance, this is a big no-go. Guys, I've got to say it, although these look completely ridiculous and are also pretty much falling off my feet, the comfort really is exceptional. Maybe Jesse Lingard and also Ashley Young had a bruise on the top of their foot and the Tech Fit collar was almost digging in and putting too much pressure on it. So in terms of comfort, these are really good, but performance, it's a no-go from me. But what do I rate Jesse Lingard's football boot hack out of 10? Well, I'm going to give these a 6 out of 10, so pretty good. And the reason for that is the comfort is out of this world. sensational, and these are pretty much made for someone like Blake Grice at the black and orange team. The reason being, he's got crazy wide feet, so if you're like him, these are going to alleviate all the stress on the top of your foot. But be warned, lockdown responsiveness and overall performance is going to be completely lost. So what about you guys? Would you wear Jesse Lingard's cut Adidas X? Vote in a poll card now. Guys, I'm coming back at you with another pair of scissors, but this time to cut the collar on the Nike Mercurial Superfly 5. Because does it give you better performance and better overall comfort? Because players like Ronaldo, Isco and Vidal have all cut the collar on their Nike boots. So let's find out if it actually makes a better boot. First step, let's cut the collar. So here's how they look with their new cut collar. To me, I actually think these actually look a lot nicer than with the dynamic fit collar, and a little bit similar to those new Nike Flyknit Ultras. Let's lace up our cut Superfly 5s for the first time, and already massive bonus point because these are so much easier to slide on compared to a normal Superfly 5 with its dynamic fit collar. I actually just did lace up the black pair with the collar, and I actually cut my finger, and I bet there's some of you guys who can actually sympathise with that. But let's find out how these cut Superflies actually feel. Guys, here's how they look top down view, and I'm proper having these. To me, the silhouette is just much nicer without the collar compared to the Superfly 5 with the collar. Hey listen, these cut Superflies are the one. You don't lose anything from cutting the collar, but you gain so much. Firstly, and most importantly, they're much more comfortable in my opinion. For me and a lot of other players, the dynamic fit collar can fit too snug, aggressive and compressive. Secondly, they're so much easier to put on compared to the standard Superfly 5. And thirdly, I just think they look better. But what do I give the cut Superfly 5s overall out of 10? Well, I am mega impressed with these. So I'm gonna give them 9 out of 10. And I'm not surprised Nike released a low cut Phantom 3 and also the brand new Flyknit Ultras. Low cut Flyknit boots are definitely the future for Nike. But what about you guys? Would you wear the cut Superfly 5? Vote in a poll card now. Our next boot hack is back over to Adidas to do the Zlatan Ibrahimovic cut pure cut cover. What you need to do to create the Zlatan Ibrahimovic football boot hack is to very carefully cut around that pure cut lace cover, making sure not to cut through that internal cage or the laces themselves. Once you've done that, simple as put the boots on and then do the laces up. Here's how they're looking on feet now that I've laced them up, and to be honest, first couple of steps I can't tell a massive difference. They still fit exactly the same. The only difference for me is what you get from cutting the pure cut cover is that the laces are now exposed rather than having to tuck them into the pure cut cover, which can actually create a little bobble which can be uncomfortable. One problem with this hack is if you play on 3G, inside that little pure cut lace cover, you're going to get a lot of rubber crumb that actually gets stuck inside. To be honest, I think these boots actually look quite cool, but I found one major problem with cutting the pure cut cover. The big problem is the internal cage, which is now exposed. It looks very delicate. As we can see here, it's actually starting to rip already, and that's just from pulling the laces tightly. If you've got any kind of bad tackle with the studs, this could completely rip and then you don't have a lacing system altogether. But what score out of 10 do I give Zlatan's boot hack? Well, to be fair, it hasn't changed a great deal. The comfort, fit and performance is still the same. The one difference is the durability. It's got worse. Because the internal cage is now exposed, the durability of those could actually start to rip. So overall, I'm going to give these a score of 7 out of 10. But what about you guys? Would you do Zlatan's boot hack? Vote in a poll card now. Our next pro boot hack was made famous by the man CR7. So does his hot water trick actually work? First step is lacing the boots up, and as you've just seen, it was the right boot which was actually given the hot water treatment. So this one hasn't had hot water and this one has. So here they are on feet. And can I really tell a difference in how they feel straight away? I'm going to say no, but let's go for a little run and some dribbling. Let's step over the white line for the first time to see how they feel. And to be honest, and this isn't a lie, the hot water trick on the right boot just feels a little bit softer and like it can flex a little bit more easy at that mid flex point. Guys, on a real, the boot which has had the hot water trick has softened up very nicely. So if you do have some boots which are fitting too tight to start out with, you definitely can try the hot water trick. Just one thing to bear in mind, don't have the water too hot. One major reason is that it could actually kill the durability of the boots, especially around the sole plate meeting with the upper. Just doing some keepy uppies, and I wouldn't say that the hot water trick boot feels any thinner or more barefoot with the ball. I would just say they feel overall a little bit softer. But what would I rate this boot hack out of 10? Well, I think this is actually a pretty good trick from Ronaldo, so I'm going to score them 8 out of 10. This is a great option if you have boots which are too tight to make them a little bit softer and flexible, or also if they're brand new boots you want to speed up the braking process, another great option for you. Just make sure the water's not too hot, because this could damage the upper of the sole plate. Next up, we've got the Dani Alves. So it does lacing up the boots just in the top 2 holes, give you better comfort and a cleaner ball strike. Let's put it to the test. Now you've got your boot and your lace, you now need to lace up just those top 2 ones there and that final top hole. And this is how they're going to end up looking. And obviously, one problem is that you're going to have these massive laces coming off the end of the boot, so you're going to need to cut these down to size. So here's how they are on feet. And because they don't feature any laces on the top of the foot, they do have a very unique look to them. Now, Dani Alves might have done this for a few reasons. Firstly, the laces may have been too aggressive on the top of the foot and became uncomfortable. Secondly, he may wanted a cleaner strike on the ball, but that's a little bit dubious. Or thirdly, maybe he just wanted a cool looking boot. Hopefully you guys can see on camera, but because there's no laces on the top of the foot, where that hybrid tongue is, it now fits very loose. You can almost pick it up to create some space underneath the hybrid tongue region. So in terms of how they fit, there's definitely a level of lockdown and responsiveness lost from taking out your laces across the majority of the boot. So I've just had a few ball strikes with the Dani Alves technique, and to be honest, I couldn't really feel much of a difference between this one and a Vapor with laces all throughout the lacing system. So to be honest, there's not a lot of positives, and there is a slight negative of the overall fit is a little bit looser. So what would I give it a score out of 10? Well, I'm going to give it a 5. To be honest, it's just a little bit pointless, doesn't do anything in terms of positives, and there is a slight negative. This next hack is becoming so popular with a lot of professionals and also amateurs, and that is playing football with no laces in your boots. So let's unlace one of these Superflies and see if we can feel a difference. So here it is, one Superfly with laces and one Superfly without. So getting the Superfly on with no laces was much simpler, and I don't even have to do laces, so that's a positive. But what about the actual comfort and performance? Guys, let me tell you, I'm not having this one at all. The Superfly on my right foot with no laces is all over the place. Because it doesn't have any laces in the boot, my foot is slipping, getting a lot of heel slippage. The Superfly is all about high level performance, but this has completely gone out the window by taking out the laces. One of my favourite features of the Superflies are the flywire cables either side of the lacing system. Put those laces tight and the whole boot wraps around your foot very snugly. But because we don't have any laces in this Superfly, the flywire cables are now irrelevant. So what am I saying about this one? Football boots with no laces. Well, I think this is dead. So I'm going to give this a score of 2 out of 10. The reason it gets a 2 is because the fit is overall terrible in terms of performance, but on the plus side, they are very comfortable if you have very wide feet. So guys, there it is. I've tested each and every one of the pro footballer boot hacks, but in this video, which one has been your favorite? Let us know in the comment section below. But that's it, all wrapped up, so thanks for watching. Cheers.